Hey guys, it's Dave, and welcome to another Everyday Rants podcast.
This is the greatest show on earth.
Why, thank you. Today is Friday, and this is podcast number 10. Uh, so let's see what's going on here. So basically, I wanted to let you guys know. I know when I first started this, I mentioned I had changed my lifestyle a little bit, eating a little better, getting to the gym, and I like to report that 3.5 weeks in, I am down 8 pounds.
Oh, good for you. Oh, good for you.
Wow. Well, thank you, Mr. Bale. I am pretty happy. 8 pounds down, 3.5 weeks. That's a good steady flow. Joined a new gym with my wife. What was it? A week ago? 2 weeks ago? Retro Fitness. I don't know if they're all over the place, but Retro Fitness is like it reminds me of Planet Fitness, where I was at for a bunch of years, a couple of years ago, and it's like they have like this whole big movie screen where they play old school movies. I haven't done that yet, but I was there the other day, and man, oh man, I mean, you do not realize how heavy you are until you are at a gym. You don't realize how fat you look. How fat.
Let everything hang out. Let everything hang out.
You don't realize how fat you are until you're in a gym with people in shape, but where there are mirrors, like where you're working out, where like you're doing cardio. I mean, there was...
Oh my.
Yeah, oh my. There are mirrors, not everywhere, but there was this one mirror on the side where I was doing cardio. And I just looked, and I was like, holy mackerel. I gotta lose some weight. Gotta lose some weight. Looking at that mirror, just watching myself on the elliptical, just going at it, I was like, wow. I did not realize I look so big. I don't see it. I know, obviously I see it. When my shirt's off, I go, ugh, God. I used to have somewhat of a flat stomach. I used to have somewhat of a muscle, some type of muscle definition. Now it just looks like a bunch of, I don't know. What does it look like? Play-Doh? Doughy, like I look like I'm doughy, like Pillsbury Doughboy. Glad you guys find that funny, but don't mind me. I'm playing around with a new soundboard, so just trying to work it into the podcast and see how it works. You guys let me know what you think. But yeah, man, it's so doughy. But when I'm looking in the mirror, just looking at my face, I'm like, okay. I was like, I don't feel or look heavy. But whoa, I was at the gym, man, working out. I just glanced over to the left at that mirror, and I was like, whoa. Big boy. You know what I mean?
Hey now.
But but doing good, staying on track. It's almost a full month. Like I said, down 8 pounds. I set a nice little goal for myself. I mean, it's pretty hefty. I'm looking. I would like to drop 50 pounds. Was it 50? Yeah, I think it was 50 pounds by my birthday. And my birthday is June 1st. So I gave myself 6 months to drop 50 pounds. I've done it before. I'm just a little bit older now, so I know it's going to be a little bit harder. But I am determined to get there. I still have a lot of more weight to go. At that point, I'll be at an even 200. So I just gave you my weight. I'm in the 250s. But yeah, I want to. I like to get down to 200 by time I get to my birthday, where I'll be turning 36. So I like to have that nice little milestone for myself by my birthday. Yeah. So that's it. I'm trying to think what else went on. We had a we had a kind of a sucky weekend last week for the storm. It was something I kind of didn't bring up last week, but my wife's aunt passed away. So that kind of sucked because it was kind of I mean she was sick, but not sick where like it was deathly. And her passing was kind of shocking, especially since we had just seen her like 2 weeks before that for my mother-in-law's birthday. We were at my sister-in-law's house celebrating, and she seemed fine. But it just goes to show you that no matter what you do, no matter what just try not to stay mad at those you love, those people you care about, because you never know. Any day, any of us could wake up and drop dead from anything, a heart attack. You could be hit by a friggin' truck. You could be in your car. You could be sitting there in your car driving, abiding the law, doing the speed limit, and some idiot next to you could be texting and rear you off the road, and you could be killed. It's just a scary world out there, and it could happen at any moment, and there's a lot of mornings where we're running crazy around here trying to get ready, trying to get the kids ready, Lauren for school, trying to get Ashley ready for daycare. This month I've started going back to work, going out visiting some of my clients more and more. So, there's 3 days out of the week or so I'm sitting there trying to get, dressed, shirt and tie and everything. My wife's trying to get ready for work. And the thing that sucks, one, is that we are in this small little 2-bedroom co-op. So we only have the one bathroom. So that blows entirely, especially with 3 girls. But there are a lot of, there are decent mornings. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it. We do. There's a lot of arguing in the morning here, yelling at the kids to continue because from 7:15 in the morning till 8 o'clock, we'll be sitting there trying to get Lauren and Ashley out of bed because they just won't get out of bed. And then 7:15 you start off with the all right guys, time to get up, time to get ready for school. Come on, Fast forward, now it's 7:50, 7:55. Lauren's bus comes at like 8:20. It's like, come on, time to get up. Let's go. You start yelling and getting upset, and that is what it is. But I hate leaving the house when I try not to leave the house angry with anybody. I try to make up real quick, say I love you, sorry, excuse me, because you just never know. You just never know. And, it's scary. It is scary. But, yeah, so we had that about, I think it was like last week. Yeah, last Friday. The wake and everything. And it was sad. I felt bad for my mother-in-law. Felt bad for my wife's cousin. Because he was living with his mom, helping her out and stuff. And he's going through some own personal shit. And this on top of it was just like, God damn, that sucks, bro. It just sucks. So I want to tell everybody, it just sucks, and I wish everybody would just, get together, and this goes for me too. I have a lot of bad history, family-wise, friend-wise. I mean, I could get into some stuff. Man, if I started getting into my past, I mean, this would turn into a very different podcast. And like I said, it's something I've even thought about. Maybe with the podcast starts to grow and there's more people listening and following and downloading, maybe I'll get more into that. Maybe start like a little segment called, psychologist or psychiatrist with Dave or whatever, and vent to you guys. But it just sucks, and I wish everybody would just get together and remember that there's you never know. Life's short. It could end at any minute for anybody, and just remember, everybody, have a little peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Yeah, so yeah, that was crazy. But So today is Friday, like I mentioned, and I'm starting a new segment here on the Everyday Rants podcast. It's going to be, it's flat. Everybody does, Flashback Friday or Throwback Thursday on Thursdays. So we're going to go back in time. We're going to go back in time with Dave. Yes, and we're going to go back in time. And I'm going to go back in time. I know I've mentioned it before on here and even on my on the YouTube channel. If anybody doesn't know, I did train to be a professional wrestler. I trained from the year 2000 to 2001, a little over a year, out in Holbrook, Long Island, at the HWA. It was the Hardcore Wrestling Alliance. I was trained by some trainers that were affiliated with ECW or had done stuff with ECW. And then, I worked shows. And when I say I worked shows as security. And then the last two shows they ever had, and shows meaning once a month, every Thursday. It was not every Thursday. Let me rewind, backtrack. Once a month on a Thursday, they would have their big show for the month. They build it up. We trained for that all month and everything. And I did the last two before the school shut down. First one I was in a battle royal, got eliminated pretty quick. And then the second one, I wrestled my boy Chris. I got a story for that. That'll be for another Flashback Friday, because today's Flashback Friday, memory, flashback with Dave, back in time. I want to talk about the people that say, all wrestling's fake. No, wrestling's predetermined. It is not a fake sport. It is very grueling. You go through tons and tons of training and pain and blood, sweat, and tears, and sometimes vomit. To train for this stuff. And, there are trained professionals. Even though I did it for a little over a year, I do consider myself a trained professional because I was trained by professionals. And I know how to professionally put on a lot of holds. Not all, but a nice majority of ones that I know. And I want to talk to, just go through some of the injuries that I suffered. And some were during matches that I had to continue doing. And some were during training that I was able to roll to the side and just take a few minutes to chill. So first I'm going to go into, so there was a match I did. It had to be back in 2001. It was a backyard show. I just put it up on my YouTube channel a couple months ago, maybe a month ago. And I have more to come, just working on those. Those are becoming difficult to edit. But there was a match I did. It was in a backyard. It was a cold October, November night. It was like 2001, I believe. And I took a bump from my cousin Anthony, where he did like the Bubba drop. Bubba Gump. What the hell am I thinking? Bubba Ray Dudley. Back, in the late 90s, early 2000s, used to do this move where he grabbed somebody like in a Phil Nelson, but then picked them up, and then they both dropped on like their butts. Well, he did that to me, and I bit down on the side part of my tongue, and actually a little piece of my tongue came out, ripped off. And I remember I kept bleeding during the match, and I kept spitting a lot because, my tongue was a little numb, and I had trouble feeling it for a little bit. Finally got the feeling back. The bleeding stopped very quickly, But I remember, that hurt, man. That hurt. But you keep going because that's what you learn in the business, And I don't want to sound like I've done a lot. I didn't. I trained for a year and a half. I did some backyard shows. I did a couple of shows, in front of an audience, in an actual ring. So I'm not a veteran or anything. I'm not sitting here claiming that. But, that's what you were taught. No matter what, the show must go on. There was this other time. This was training now. So this was, I don't know, some random night I was training. And this guy I used to train with, we called him Big Chris. Dude was so awesome. He was such a nice guy. He was huge. I'm 5'8". So this guy, oh man, Chris had to be 6'8", 6'10" maybe. He was a big fucking dude. Big dude. Heavy set, but not fat, but heavy, like that big guy heavy, but they don't look fat, they just look big. He was such a nice dude, though. We trained the whole time I was there. We trained in the same time frame, and this dude was like, "Hey, we're talking before, he's like, when we're training, I wanna pick you up and do a slingshot suplex off the top rope." Now, basically, what that is where the person picks you up, they bounce your hips. So, like when you're in a suplex, it's when someone picks you up straight up, and your legs are straight up in the air, and then what they do, he would bend with me, bounce me off the top rope, where you're supposed to hit on your hips, kind of, and then like bounce back, and then like suplex me. Now, I was like, yeah, okay, cool, because I was pretty much down to do anything. The only things that scared me was like they wanted me to try to do like backflips, and I got so hesitant with doing backflips because I was just worried about breaking my neck. And that was probably my one fault in training in wrestling, was that I'm 5'8". I was a small dude, so I guess they were expecting me to be more of the high fly and stuff, and I didn't mind going to the top rope and doing elbow drops and splashes and frog splashes and stuff like that, but backflips, flips like even a front flip I probably could have done, but a backflip scared the shit out of me. And power bombs always scared me. Being lifted up over my head, not having control anymore. And I'll go into that because that's another injury I will go into after this. But anyway, so he goes, I was like, yeah, sure, Chris. I was like, let's do it. He's like, all right. He goes, you're gonna whip back and do so. I was like, yeah, all right, whatever, that's fine. And I take a bump. So we get in the ring. He hoists me up, and I don't know if I made the mistake or if he just made a little blunder, but when he bounced me off the rope, he bounced me so hard, but he bounced me off my shins. And I swear, like, he bounced me so hard off those ropes, but on my shins, not my meaty thigh area. Oh my God, my legs buckled in. He actually like had to put me down, like he dropped me, like didn't drop me on my head or anything. He like let me fall to the ground because my once my shins hit, my legs gave out. I couldn't, and I just laid there. And I remember Paul, one of the trainers, was like, Dave, you all right? Hoff, they used to call me. Hoff, you all right? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I just can't feel my legs for a second. Now, I wasn't like paralyzed or anything. I could feel them, but like they were so numb that he was like, all right, just roll out. So I rolled outside the on the apron and just sat there for like, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. Got my feeling back, and then I just popped back up, and I was like, all right, good to go. So there was that instance in school. I'm trying to think what else in school. I mean, I remember doing these backdrops with this guy, Mike, that I used to train with, and man, we just couldn't nail it. Just could not nail it. I thought I was going to break my neck a couple times. I mean, the canvas at one point, I went up in the air, and I went up all awkward. He threw me up awkward. I went up awkward. It was a very awkward thing, and I remember coming down, looking straight at the mat, and I just tucked my head at the last second, and I landed kind of like on the upper shoulder blades, and then, boom, fell on my back. So there was that. Then there was this power bomb. Oh my God. So I had this buddy. I don't really talk to him anymore. This buddy of mine. I don't know if you're supposed to say people's names or whatever. I'm not going to give last names or whatever. But I used to have this buddy. His name was Bronco. Oh man, he was a tall dude too. He had to be like 6'7", something like that. This fucking guy. I mean, oh God. We're walking out of my house. I was living at home. I wasn't even dating my wife yet, and I was like a couple months into training, and I always wanted to get him into training with me because I mean, when he went to the school with me to check it out before I signed up and everything, and I mean, I walked in with this dude, this monster at 6'7". I mean, the eyes, people at the school, like eyes opened up, and they used to ask me every once in a while, what's going on with your friend? I was like, oh no, he had joined the Air Force or something like that. I don't remember what he was doing. And I tried to get him to join with me, but to no avail. Because I always pictured like an awesome Shawn Michaels Diesel kind of thing, like on the cowardly heel, and he's my bodyguard. I always found that funny when you had the little cowardly heel with the big bodyguard that always stuck up for him. So the cowardly heel could do whatever he wanted because he had this huge monster behind him. But anyway, I'm digressing off the story. So we're leaving my where I lived at my parents' house, my mother's house and stuff. We're leaving. We're going out. It's me, him, and I think it might have been like my ex-girlfriend at the time. It's dark. It's late. We're going out. We're young. And he goes, "Hey, let me pick you up and give you a power bomb on the grass." I'm like, fuck no. He's like, come on. He's like, you know what to do now. I'm like, all right, fine. I was like, fuck it, I'll take a power bomb. So I'm like, dude, but you have to wait. Like, you have to, when you lift up, you have to let me get up to you. Like, let me do my pulling myself up. I was like, don't power bomb me until you see me. Like, when you look up and you see my head looking down at you, because that means I'm up. Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. I mean, I was probably 2 inches from being paralyzed. He fucking picks me up. Before I could start picking, like, he does the bend, and I'm ready to go. He starts bending. I start lifting myself up, but I'm not even really, like, perpendicular with him yet. He fucking drops me right on the grass. I land right on the upper, luckily I had my head tucked in. I landed right on, like, my neck part, right near my upper shoulder blades, on my back, though. My girlfriend is like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" My ex-girlfriend at the time. My mother saw it through the window. She comes bolting out of the house like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I shoot up. I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine." I'm like, asshole just doesn't know what he's doing. "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, dude," I was like, "you're supposed to wait for me to, like, be up there with you. Give me a second to, like, pull myself up." Because, in a powerbomb, it's all one fluid motion, but you got to let the guy get up there. Unless you know what you're doing and you can lift him up and get him there. But he didn't know what he was doing because he wasn't trained. I told him I'll lift myself up. I said, look up. And when you see my face looking down at you, that means I am up in the position. Lay me flat. I'll take the bump. Oh, that was probably like the scariest moment. And again, it wasn't even in a wrestling ring. It was just fucking around with somebody that didn't know what they were doing. I mean, I didn't hold, I was pissed for like a little bit, then I was over it. But oh man, that shit hurt. And scary. Oh, I'm trying to think of some more injuries that I went through, or, trying to think. I don't think I had many other ones, really legit stuff. There were a lot of times where I was like, I'd wake up the next day like sore as hell, could barely walk, waddle into work, because your back's so, especially doing a lot of the backyard stuff I used to do, and then I used to do a lot of shows like in people's houses. I had a buddy who I trained with, this kid Eric. I guess his parents used to go away, whatever, a lot, and he used to call me up like, it'd be like Friday, Thursday night. He'd call me and be like, "Hey, my parents gonna be away," or my mom, whatever he used to say, "It's gonna be away Saturday night. You can come over. You can make it. Put a show on. Put you in." What the awesome thing was that I was always willing to do it. I always wanted to do it. And he was awesome because he always booked me in the main event. I don't think I won a lot, but I guess he liked how I wrestled and how I was kind of a good heel, because he always booked me in the main event. And a good one here, and I'll go into, this wasn't my injury. This was an injury I caused, unfortunately, to my cousin Anthony. So Anthony was training with us at the same time, and he goes, it's one show, and I can't find the tape. He can't find the tape. My buddy Eric can't find the videotape he had of it. This is the one match I wish I could find. So he gets us there. We're there before people show up. And he's like, all right, we're going to do an opening match. It's going to be a 3-way. Me, my cousin Anthony, this other dude who wasn't like a trained professional. He's like, Dave, you're going to go over, but, do some crazy shit. Because it's a house. We're in a house. People want to see some fucking crazy shit. And I was like, all right. And Anthony was young. We probably both were young and stupid. I was maybe 21, 22, so he was 16, 17. So we're talking, we're playing out some stuff, and we're talking about when Anthony's going to get eliminated, because he was going to be the first one eliminated in the 3-way. So he goes, hit me with a chair. And I'm like, you want me to hit you with a chair? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'll hit you with a chair. Now, mind you, I've never hit anybody with a chair yet. So I'm like, okay. So, I'm talking to a few guys that were there, and I'm like, what's the best way to throw a chair shot? And they're like, okay, you got to make sure you come down, and he's got to keep his head still. He can't move it. Okay. So I'm like, Anthony, all right, so just keep your head still. We're going to do this. Boom, you're out. So on and so forth. So show starts, opening match. It's us. We're going at it, wrestling, boom, three-way, we're hitting moves. I wish I had the tapes. I can't remember all specifics of what was going on. But then the chair spot came. And I remember Anthony was on his knees, all like dazed and stuff. Pick up the chair. Now the people that are there, it was great. It was probably like a good 30 people. They were into it, drinking. They were like loving it. I was playing the heel they hated me. But what happens next? I am surprised, one, I didn't get my ass kicked by somebody there, because the heat that I took after this, and then I had to come back out for the main event. I really I loved it, because they were booing the shit out of me, not realizing that it was my cousin and it was a mistake what happened, and he was all good. Later on, I found out he wasn't that good, but anyway, so I pick up the chair. Now it's the heat of the moment. He's on his knee, he's all dazed. Now the thing is that he's dazed, and he's like rocking back and forth. Like his body's like rocking, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to remember how to do it. And I mean, we didn't have those wrestling chairs, and I still to this day think those wrestling chairs are gimmicky, because there's no way people could take headshots like that and survive. But anyway, we had a real metal steel chair, thick. So I'm like, all right. So I see him rocking, and I think in my head, I was just like, all right, I know I'm supposed to come straight down, but he's moving, so I'm going to come angled. Whoa, were we both wrong, especially me, on so many marks. I went in, I crack him in the head. But as I crack him in the head, I'm forgetting that there's that big lip in the back when you fold up a chair where you rest your back against. That lip catches him right above the eye. I mean, splits his eye wide open. Now, there is blood everywhere. I see his face, and he's just like, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So I cover him, and I'm whispering to him as I'm getting the cover. The guy's count. I'm like, Anthony, go out, roll out, go to the back. So they take him in the back. This guy, Doug, who used to train us, does a butterfly stitch or whatever on him. Match is ending. Everybody's fucking screaming at me like, you're an asshole. How can you do that to him? Blah, blah. And I'm just like, I'm playing the heat role. I'm like, fuck you. He shouldn't be in the ring. He shouldn't be here wrestling then if he can't take it. It's just a little chair shot. Be a man. I'm playing it up, but I'm scared shitless. I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do to Anthony? So we get in the back. I see him being stitched up. They got blood everywhere, but he's stitched up. There's no blood. They got the butterfly stuff on him. There's no blood really coming out. And this fucking kid, man, he was like, I want to go back out there. I'm like, dude, you cannot go back out there. Now, God knows, we don't know if he was unconscious or anything or had a concussion. We don't know. But he's like, I want to go back out there. We're like, dude, you cannot go back out there. You're done. He's like, no, I want to go back. We're like, no. So we go through the rest of the night. Couple other matches go. And then it's the main event. I go back out there. People are just booing the fuck out of me. Real hating me. Like, fuck you, Dave. Blah, blah, blah. Really hate me. But I'm playing it up. I end up losing. Whatever. Everybody loved that. I get Anthony home that night. I'm like, dude, tell your mom I'm so sorry. If you need anything, call me, blah, 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 blah. I did not find out until we started doing everything with Everyday Geek that, he told me that, he had to go to the hospital. I never knew he had to go to the hospital that night. His mom took him to the hospital, and he had to be stitched up and everything, and he told me that, she wasn't particularly too happy with me, and I get that. I mean, I didn't know it went that far. He never told me. I never knew he had to go to the hospital. And I was like, dude, why didn't you fucking tell me? I was like, sorry, and I felt bad. I was like, oh, man, I can't believe your mom was mad. And he goes, no, she was upset, and I get it, because I'd be upset too. I think it's all under the bridge now, but that was, the worst I ever felt in a match was doing that. I was just like, oh, crap. Oh, man. Oh, I'm trying to think of some other, but it goes to show you that the mentality of a professional wrestler is the show must go on. Anthony was bleeding like a stuck pig, man. Blood everywhere. I covered him. The motherfucker's in the back, butterflied up, and he's saying, I want to go back out there. He would have went out there, too, if we were like, sure. Luckily, we were all smart enough to know, no, that's it. But, man, was that that was crazy. It's a crazy sport, though. And it's and I fucking cringe and want to strangle people when they go, oh, it's fake. No, dickhead. It's not fake. It's predetermined. Yes, it's predetermined. You know the storyline. You know what's going on. You know who's going to win. But there's nothing fake about these. These are athletes. Day in and day out, what they do every day. WWE, TNA, the Indies, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, all this stuff. They are athletes, what they're doing. You have to have stamina. You have to have strength. You have to have trust between you and your opponent. There has to be a mutual trust there. Because a lot of these times, this person that you might not even know is picking you up over your head. There has to be a trust and a respect for the sport for that to go two ways. And I fucking hate people that say, oh, it's fake. You know what? Get you in the ring. I guarantee you, those assholes that say it was a fake wouldn't survive, I was going to say 30 minutes, but they wouldn't survive 10 minutes in a hardcore training facility. Because I saw it. I saw dudes coming into the school. I saw this one dude we had. He was like from the fucking military. Nice guy, too. He was really cool. He was muscular, in shape. He was probably about 6'2". He was a little older than us, but he was like a you could see him in like the WWE or WCW at the time or ECW. Like you could see him being in there. That motherfucker lasted 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We went out, me, him, and my buddy Rich, one night after we trained. We went out to the local Applebee's over there to get some appetizers and drinks and stuff. And all this motherfucker did was bitch about how much pain he was in and how much it hurt. And I'm looking at this guy like, holy shit, dude. Like, you are built like a brick house. And you're bitching and moaning? He quit. And it sucked because I saw him and I was like, oh man, this guy's he looks like he's got potential. It looks like he's got it. Nope, he didn't have it. You know who had it? Me. I went through it. 1.5 years. Never threw up. Never even got close to vomiting, actually. And I worked my ass off there. I remember there was this trainer. What the fuck was his name? Oh, he was so cool. I forgot the role. He played like a weird, French. They were like these two guys. One guy was, one guy I'm still friends with on Facebook. The other dude, I forgot his name. Guillotine Legrand or something like that was his gimmick name. I remember one day we're in the ring and he has I think there's 6 of us. And he has us doing split off into twos and doing this stuff and these moves. And I remember he just he looked at me. And Paul, the main trainer, the guy that ran it, was in the ring also. And he looked at me. And I remember he looked at Paul and said, this kid wants it. And they're looking at me. And I just beamed ear to ear. Smiled. Paul said, he does. And Guillotine Legrand, I think that was his gimmick name, said, you could tell in his eyes, he wants it. And they're saying this in front of the other kids, the other guys that are there. They didn't say it to anybody else. They said it to me. They said, he's got it. There's something in his eyes. He wants it. And when he said that, I never went back. I mean, I always was moving forward in training. Did I get caught up on some moves that I had to learn? Yeah. I mean, drop kicks were so hard for me to get that down. Drop kicks was so hard. Doing backflips, I just still to this day, I couldn't do it. I was so scared. I can't even do it going off a diving board into a pool. I get nervous that I'm going to slip and break my neck. I have this weird fear of breaking my neck. Even when I started doing house shows and stuff like that, I refused to be picked up over my head. I wouldn't let anybody pile drive me. I wouldn't let anybody power bomb me. I had to be in control of my neck. That's just me. And it's funny because I could pick anybody else up. I know I can do it. It's just I didn't want anybody doing it to me because maybe it's my weight thing because even then I was in shape. But I think I've always had weight issues that I always thought I was heavy and I always thought that someone wouldn't be able to pick me up. That was probably my biggest main fear. And also fear of doing a backflip. I'm always thinking I was fat. I probably didn't want to do a backflip because I thought I would fall and break my neck. But man, it's something that I look back on and I wish I stuck through it. I think, not stuck through it. I went through the schooling. Some shit went down. That'll be for another Back in Time with Dave. But, oh man, I always wonder, and I'm not going to sit here and go, I would have been the next WWE champion. No. Was that a dream of mine? Abso-fucking-lutely. Ever since I saw Shawn Michaels versus El Matador, the opening match at WrestleMania 8, what got me into wrestling back in 1992, I wanted to be the WWE champion. Reality, did I think I'd ever get it? No. I honestly never even thought when I was doing it. My dream was always just to have a tryout match for Raw. For the WWE. Do like a dark match, just to show them and see if there was something there that they were interested in me. That's all I ever wanted, and it was only WWF. I've never liked WCW. I watched ECW because ECW was pretty damn hardcore, but that style, I don't want to say frightened me, but it wasn't really what I wanted to get into. If it was a way in, like a way to get into the business, I would have definitely joined ECW if they wanted me. But that shit scared me a little bit. I'll be honest. Some of those matches, I was like, holy fuck. Even watching some of the guys that used to come over. I mean, I had met doing shows at the school because a lot of those guys, Paul worked at ECW for a little bit. Mikey Whipwreck was friends with Paul and came to a couple trainings and stuff. So I met, Mikey Whipwreck, Tajiri, who went on to go into WWF and have some fame there. I met Balls Mahoney. I met, who were some of the other ECW guys that were there that I met? I'm drawing a blank here. I know there were more, but I am drawing a solid blank now on the rest. But I know Tajiri once. A couple times, actually, maybe. Mikey Whipwreck, obviously. And Balls Mahoney. There were some other guys. I can't remember who. I'll have to try to remember and let you guys know. But anyway, that was my Flash, back in time with Dave. New segment here. Hopefully they won't run as long as, this one did. But, yeah, anyway, I'm going to wrap up. And thank you guys for listening. Remember, you can download us for free on SoundCloud. And you can also find us on our Everyday Geek channel. The rants are up there also if you want to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for listening, guys. I appreciate it. Love you guys. And have a good one. Adios.